Good morning, Sharon. How are you? Thank you for joining us for another episode of Business Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So I wanted to ask you so that we can get started off with getting to know you a little bit better. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how long you've been doing this.
Yeah, so I started in the payments industry a little over 10 years ago. And from that, it kind of branched out into software solutions and being able to integrate into different banking platforms and payment platforms. And from there, it kind of developed into blockchain-based solutions, and that's across the globe, and being able to facilitate payments and these solutions cross-border. So as you know, we're kind of changing in times, and people are transacting or having businesses across the world. These solutions are needed more and more. It could be whether it's using crypto or just using blockchain tech in the back, or just your standard payment solutions. And then that stems out into really almost any industry. So as long as you're transacting somewhere and you're accepting a payment somewhere, my company can provide a solution for that.
Fantastic. And can you remind us again, what's the name of the company?
So it actually spreads out into about 3 different companies, depending on the jurisdiction and the nature of the business of the client. But I have Tok-Invest, which is based here in Miami, and that assists people with real estate purchases, foreign investors, crypto transactions, blockchain-based investment solutions for developers, or for it could be individuals that are trying to raise funds for their projects. And then I have the Crypto Media Group, which is more a Web3 based agency. And that could be any Web3 project, NFTs, or any tokenization. So yeah.
Excellent. And how long again did you say that you've been doing this for now?
Over 10 years.
Wow.
It's a rarity.
Yes, you're well versed in this world then.
Yes.
We're going to definitely have to invite you over and talk to some people, some of the business owners that are still kind of very, very lightly trepidatious about, getting involved in all of that. They're still a little guarded.
Yeah, unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, because we got all the bad apples out of the way, but there was a lot of hype way too fast. And I think that at the end of the day, these are financial products, and that's also how they're being regulated, based off of current and past regulations. And I think that most of, the current generation and previous generations are not taught proper, finance or investment. And I think a lot of people saw this as like a get rich quick opportunity. And that's kind of what we're seeing also, why everything is falling through right now. But if we look at it just from a tech perspective, where the advantages, and we do things properly, then it's very, very useful.
Got it. And tell us a little bit about what is most inspiring to you currently.
I think the ability to be able to, touch so many different points of this globe and be kind of everywhere, have your hands everywhere. Today, and I think, with COVID, it kind of like sped that up even more, is that you can really do business anywhere, and you can also do it from anywhere, really. So I think that that's something that I really, really love.
Yeah. And what has been the greatest learning that you've had since you've started this journey of being a business owner?
I mean, I've learned a lot. It definitely is much more difficult, I think, to be an entrepreneur. You constantly need to reassess yourself, and you need to constantly take a look at what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how long it's going to be sustainable for. Um, I think that I've been doing a great job in terms of maybe the specific niche that I chose to be able to kind of flip it and change it based off of what's going on, in the space, and how to navigate through that. Because in 10 years, a lot has changed from every single perspective. Um, so I think that that's something super important to remember, because a lot of times people get into, new business ventures, or maybe they just decide that they want to be entrepreneurs, but they don't really look at, the business plan and the longevity of it, or what could possibly go wrong. And so I think it's important also that, people manage their time properly and understand where to invest, the most of your energy into, or how can you make your business work for you.
Yeah. And while speaking about planning and like long-term vision, what do you see, what does the future look like for your industry? Like what do you see being the main challenges moving forward?
I think that the biggest challenges we've kind of already tapped into, specifically in my industry, which is really the I think mainly the regulatory side of it. And I think maybe moving forward also, everything that has to do with safety, right, and security, hacks, let's say, for example. Obviously, since everything is kind of moving to digital and online, that's something that I think we're going to see a lot of cyber companies, that are kind of going to be auditing, all of this. But again, I think it's actually it's a very useful technology. Everything is on chain, everything is clear. You can audit everything, you can see everything. And again, in terms of regulation, we've seen basically all of these countries, or different countries basically regulated the way that they see fit. And so now we're going to move forward, and I think we're going to have more clarity, and it'll be much more easier to adopt it. We're seeing all of your BlackRocks, your JP Morgans, they're already doing this in the back. So I think once you start at the highest level and then it kind of starts trickling down, that's where we're going to see it being more massively adopted.
Yeah. And for you and your company specifically, what have been like the greatest challenge or challenges that you've had to overcome since you started?
Yeah, I always say education. And really that's why I continued to educate. In the Crypto Media Group, for example, we focus a lot on events and educating, and teaching basically how to involve these new technologies within your industry. So whatever that may be. I have people who are in real estate, I have people who are in healthcare. It could be anything. So really I would say that most of my time spent with onboarding new clients is always educating them and getting them to understand how this can better benefit them and why even do this, or maybe not at all, right? I mean, it's not the right fit for everybody. Sometimes I have people come to me and I say, well, why are you doing this? Maybe this isn't the right fit for you. So a lot of consulting and a lot of educating, that's really where I have to spend most of the time in order to obviously like maximize the most potential out of a client, right?
Yeah. And speaking of clients, what is the best type of client for you?
One that doesn't ask questions. Do whatever you want, right? This is what I need. Here's the amount of money. Take it, right? No, I mean, I work with a lot of different types of people. Actually, surprisingly, I like the ones that challenge me the most. For some reason, I don't know why. I like the harder way. Maybe it's more fulfilling. I don't know. But yeah.
Challenging, I guess. It's more interesting.
The challenge. I'm up for the challenge.
Fantastic. You said you spend a lot of time in education, in educating others, but what about you? Do you have any mentors, coaches, professors, people that you look up to?
Yeah, there are some that I do look up to, but I do think that, I look at the past generation and the future generation, and I think the things that kind of inspire me, I guess, are more things that have to do with mindset, right? And getting your mind in the right setting. Because really, I see people who they have no background, they have no experience, but their mindset is right, and they're very business savvy, and they can do or sell really anything. So I think it's not necessarily like a specific person. A lot of people will choose someone who maybe they think is very successful, I guess in terms of wealth. But that's not something that draws me more. It's more like people who have that mental clarity or that mindset, that's a successful mindset. Think more like your Tony Robbins kind of style.
Mhm.
Um, that's what I'm more drawn to.
Got it. And what have you learned from yourself or about yourself during this journey?
That I definitely like a challenge. But sometimes, I choose to take the harder route as opposed to the easier one. And it's always about self-reflection. I think as an entrepreneur, you have to continue to, look at yourself from the outside and be willing to hear criticism and be open to it. Because if you're not in that growth mindset, then you cannot have this longevity and have this business last a long time. We're in a different era and a different generation. It's not, like the 70s, 80s, 90s, where you could have a business and it could thrive for a few years and you'd buy a house and you'd be set, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? This is different. There's always someone who's going to be better than you. There's always somebody who's, going to know more than you. There's always something new coming up. Things are being tossed and thrown around, like industries are starting and then getting off, right? So if it's in my industry, for example, so you had, the crypto, and then the NFTs, and then the AR and VR and AI, and so things change all the time, and you can see it. Like if you look at LinkedIn, for example, every single time somebody decides that they're going to put one keyword, right, and that's the next thing.
Yeah.
um yeah, I would definitely say that.
Would you say has to do with being agile and resilient, I suppose. So being able to quickly adjust to all the constant jumping up and down. I'm not up, yeah, up and down too.
Yeah.
Excellent. And what advice would you give to someone starting their own business or thinking about it?
I would look at it again from all aspects. I mean, know what you're selling, know what your product is, know how long you think this is going to last for, or once you do make the money, what are you going to do with it, right? Maybe you can invest some. Again, I think that we're not taught proper financial education, and I think in America you have so many opportunities compared to the rest of the world that you can totally take advantage of the system, that you don't have these opportunities anywhere else. So, I would say educate yourself on really anything that interests you, on your industry, on how you can make it better, on your competition, what's your niche, how you can be the best at it. I think that's the advice that I would for sure give to somebody as an entrepreneur.
Good advice. Good advice. And lastly, is there anything that you would like to tell the people that are watching this interview about yourself, about the business, about any new things that you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of exciting things happening, as obviously, regulations are changing in my space. I think that it's always great to have an open conversation. I have people that come to me 2 years later based off of a conversation that we had. And a few years ago saying that you were a consultant was like was a bad thing. But I think again today people need that education, or they need that kind of guidance. So realistically, spend most of your time educating your industry, right? So that could be in events. I do a lot of really fun events, bringing different types of people together. It creates some sort of networking also. Even networking is an entire business. It's something that people don't understand. Having a network is one of the most important things, because then it really doesn't matter what you do, right? You'll always have that kind of business working for you. So that doesn't matter if it's real estate, or if it's a clothing brand, or if it's whatever you do. So I think that working on that is super, super important. And yeah, people can follow my LinkedIn as well. They can see kind of what I'm up to. Things are constantly changing. I like to kind of open it up, and then free speech, and I'm very forward and direct in presenting things. And I'm always happy to guide people to wherever they need to go or to be, give advice, consultations, and yeah, just keep educating yourselves.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sharon. Is there any specific place where you would like to send people to get in touch with you to find out about the events or presentations that you might be doing aside from LinkedIn?
Honestly, LinkedIn is the best platform I find in terms of the outreach, because they can reach me there directly, and then I can kind of help them navigate towards which company would better suit the solution that they need. So yeah, I would definitely send them there.
Great, fantastic. Well, I'll be sure to include your information so that people can get a hold of you. And you've been lovely. Thank you so much, and very insightful in getting to know more about you and your business and your industry. Thank you so much.